Everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to another session of Perspective 360 Degree where we are going to do current affair based answer writing practice in a detailed and structured manner. So before we begin the session, here is a small announcement for all of you. So basically EduTap is providing a huge discount over the different type of courses. So for example, if you're preparing for regulatory bodies exam, for example RBI, IFSCA, SEBI and etc., then you can use this coupon code which is one time 74 and you can avail this 74% off. Fine on all these courses. And please also remember that this coupon is going to be valid from 4th of August till 6th of August only. So if you think it is going to help you as a part of your preparation, so you can definitely check it out. Now moving back to the session, and as you would be knowing that today we are going to talk about financial stability report. Now the main area of discussion with respect to this report is going to be regarding the major highlights. If there is anything else also that I feel is important as far as your descriptive paper is concerned, then definitely I'm going to cover that too. And yes, if you want to see the holistic analysis of this report that could be relevant for your objective paper, then what you can do, you can watch the Kritika ma'am session. Fine, the Kritika ma'am's session that is on our YouTube channel, you can watch that too. That is going to give you the holistic analysis, because over here we are primarily going to talk about this report in context to the descriptive paper. Now this is the expected question for today, which is what are the major highlights of the FSR June 2025 with reference to recent development in India's financial system and economy. You have to answer this question within 400 words, 10 marker, and you have to write the answer within 48 hours in the comment box if you want your answer to get evaluated by our team. Now moving to the answer with respect to this question, let us first begin with the introduction part. So basically, since the question is asking about key highlights, so we are going to start our introduction accordingly. We will say that FSR, we will write that FSR June 2025 released by the RBI serves as a central bank's biannual assessment. Why? Because it is released, we know it is released twice a year, of the health, stability and risk within the financial system. Then after that you can write that the June 2025 edition highlights the overall soundness of the system while also noting sectoral trends and regulatory responses that aim to safeguard long-term sustainability. So you can write your own version of introduction also. The basic idea is that you have to present that what all information the report aims to deliver. Fine, and this is the crux of that, because the question is about the highlight. So we are trying to link our introduction with respect to the question. Now moving on to the body part, over where we are going to see the first point, that is regarding the domestic microfinancial stability. Report talks about the global scenario also, but primarily we are going to talk about the domestic stability, and if required then we are going to compare it with the global numbers also, but this is going to be the primary area of discussion. So if you talk about domestic microfinancial stability, the report says that India remained the fastest growing major economy in 2024 to 2025. Now, this is not, I would say, a small achievement. Why is it so? Because in this period of 2024 to 2025, we have witnessed a lot of challenges. For example, the repercussions of Russia-Ukraine war. We have also seen the trade disruptions in Middle East. We have also seen, I would say, the trade issues between US and China, all of which have impacted the global economies including India. But despite these several kinds of challenges, India has still remained the fastest growing major economy in 2024 to 2025, which is, I would say, a significant achievement. The next thing is that as a part of this growth, what is the growth that is projected by the RBI with respect to real GDP? So as per this report, the real GDP growth for 2025 to 2026 is projected to at 6.5%. Now I want you to remember this data. Why is it so? Because basically, let us say if you want to write the answer to some other question, and over there you can write this data as a type of conclusion also. Let us say you want to write some kind of way forward. So you can write that in order to tackle XYZ challenges, basically India needs to take ABC steps so that basically it can also achieve the real GDP growth of 6.5% as highlighted in the financial stability report. This is just a, I would say, an example I'm providing you, but you can use such type of data in the body part also, in the introduction also, wherever I would say you can fit it. But I would say I would advise you to remember this data. It is going to help you with respect to value addition in different kind of answers, include essays also, because we know that in essay also economy based essays are also asked, so you can add this data as a part of essay too. So basically this real GDP growth that is projected as 6.5%, the primary driving factors are going to be the domestic demand and the investment. Domestic demand means basically it represents that the spending of the people is going to get increased. Apart from that, if you talk about investment, which basically means the investments from the sides of businessmen and also from the side of the government. Fine. So that is going to play, I would say, a major and important role. For example, the investment in infrastructure, the investment in factories, the investment in technology, also sort of areas. The next information now is regarding the inflation. So basically the CPI inflation is declined to a 6-year low. This is very important. That 6-year low itna kam ho gaya with a rate of 2.8%. Fine. A rate of 2.8%, which basically represents that the rate at which the CPI inflation is increasing. This inflation rate, I would say, is very much slow. Now this rate is slow, which basically means that the prices in the market and also at the CPI level, we know that CPI measures the price changes at the consumption level, at the household level. So it means that the prices at the household level or at the consumption level are increasing at a very slow pace, which basically is a good sign for the consumer. So we are talking about the growth and development also through the GDP, and we are talking about the inflation also, because balancing of both this kind of phenomena is very important for a healthy economy. So that is the idea. Now moving on to the next factor, which is regarding sustainable fiscal and external position. So fiscal का मतलब है पता है, the spending of the government. Fine. So over here you can see that the current account deficit stood at just 0.6% of GDP, which is, I would say, is fine. ठीक है, तो current account deficit is manageable, just 0.65% of GDP. And if you talk about forex reserve, they stood at US dollar 697.6 billion. आप ये डेटा याद रखना ज़रूरी नहीं है, ठीक है, नहीं भी रखोगे चलेगा, बट ये याद रखना ज़रूरी है, ये चाहता हूँ मैं कि आप याद रखो, which is regarding you should know that our forex reserves are enough to cover 11.5 months of imports. Fine. And why do we need such a huge amount of forex reserve? Because we know that it is required basically, first of all, in order to pay our import bill, and apart from that, it is also required if at any point of time, for example tomorrow, any kind of financial crisis or financial uncertainty happen, so basically India still has some reserves which can be used at that point of time also, which is during the times of crisis. So that is, I would say, is the major role with respect to that. Now moving on to the next thing, which is basically the graphs I have added over here. Now these graphs are not directly important as far as your exam is concerned, but just for the sake of, I would say, better understanding, I pasted it from the report. You can see regarding RBI projections for GDP growth, which is, I would say, 6.5%. Fine, it is 6.5%. You can see it over here. So basically you can see the trend from 9.7%, we are now witnessing 6.5%. This has been the projection scenario. And why this projection has gone lower? Because over here we know that we have seen different kind of challenges with respect to our economy in this period. For example, COVID-19, for example, I would say the trade wars, for example the other kind of geopolitical disruptions such as Russia-Ukraine war, different type of scenarios, for example Red Sea blockade, you must have heard about it. So due to such kind of reasons, what has happened, the growth projection rate has gone down, but we are expecting that it is going to get increase in a near future. Now the next thing is inflation. अब ये जो green dot आप देख रहे हो, ये वाली line, this is something that is representing CPI inflation, और आप देख सकते हो this is going way and way lower. So that is the idea. ठीक है, this is regarding CPI combined, which is getting reduced, which is getting decreased, and I will say which is affecting the spending of the consumers. The next thing is regarding financial market trends. So let us try to understand this point also. Fine. And apart from that, I would also like to say that this point is something that I forgot to discuss. So basically, if we talk about the government debt, it is first of all, it is rupee denominated. So if you try to understand it, that basically the advantage of the debt being rupee denominated is that it becomes less risky, because basically the if the rupee, if some kind of volatility happens with respect to rupee, so RBI can come and RBI can control. RBI has control over this currency, which is basically the rupee. So if the value of the rupee gets fluctuated, it get increase or decrease. So accordingly, RBI can print more rupee, or it can pump out rupee from the economy. So such kind of decisions can be taken. So that is why the risk that is associated with respect to rupee denominated debt as compared to the dollar denominated debt, it is lesser. The next is with 97% at fixed rate. Now please understand that this is not floating rate but the fixed rate. Again, I would say a good sign, because fixed rate basically means that the cost is not going to go up suddenly. Okay, cost is not going to shoot up suddenly. This is the positive side of that. And the last line is an average maturity of 13.2 years, which means that basically the government debt that is there, it is basically for the long term. 13.2 years a long term. So what we can conclude, what could be the crux of that? The crux could be that it is both safe as well as well managed. So that is, I would say, the idea that could be the crux that we can conclude with respect to the government debt, with respect to the present scenario as highlighted in the financial stability report. Now let us move on to the second point, which is regarding the financial market trend. So let us try to understand the financial market trend also. So basically over here, the report says that if the first of all the report talks about the equity market trend, and then it also talks about the bond market trend. If we talk about equity market trend, let us try to understand it. So basically the report says that despite a recovery post April 2025, market cap remained 7% below its 2024 peak. So what does it mean to say? So basically over here, the report is talking about what? It is talking about market cap, which is indicating what? It is indicating market capitalization. Now what do you mean by market capitalization? Let us try to understand it in a very simple manner. For example, let us say this is a piece of cake. Now this cake is what? This cake is, let us say, this cake is a company. Fine, this is a big cake, or you can say a big company. Okay. Now let me divide this cake into different slices. So these are the different slices. Now let us say each slice that is there, this each slice represents share. Fine, each slice represents one share that is there in that cake, or you can say one share that is there in that company. Fine. Now the next thing is what? The next thing is basically the price of this cake. Something is going to be the price of that cake for which you are going to purchase it from the market. Now if basically we multiply, number of slices, if I multiply the number of slices that are there in the cake into the price of the cake, what I'm going to find? Won't I able to calculate the value of the cake? The value of the cake, the answer is yes. This is exactly what happens in case of market capitalization. Now just imagine that this is a company. Fine, this cake is a company, and these slices are nothing but these slices represent share. So if this is a share, so if I multiply the share with the price of the share, in this case it was the price of the cake, so if you multiply it with with its price, so what we are going to get? We are going to get basically the total value of that company. Fine. Now this is, we are talking about one company. When we are going to take into account the multiple such type of companies over here, and when we are going to calculate their, I would say, combined value, this combined value is nothing. This combined value is what? This combined value represents the market capitalization. It represents the market capitalization. So what is market capitalization? Market capitalization is nothing, it is nothing but the combined value, of all listed companies. So that is what the point is highlighting, and let me now read the line for you. Now you will be able to understand in a clear manner. So it says that despite a recovery in post April 2025 market cap remained 7% below its 2024 पिक। अब ये लो क्यों रहा है, इसके पीछे बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रीजन है, और ये एक ऐसा रीजन है जो मैंने आपके साथ लास्ट क्लास में भी डिस्कस किया था। और भी बहुत सारे रीजन है, बट एक प्राइमरी और इंपॉर्टेंट रीजन है जो रिपोर्ट में डिस्कस किया गया, विच इज रिगार्डिंग आई वुड से द एफपीआई आउटफ्लोज। ठीक है, so because of the FPI outflows what we are witnessing, since with the FPI outflows what is happening, basically the investment opportunities from India are declining. Fine, what we are doing, the domestic industries, they are investing abroad, and apart from that, if you talk about the international investment, the international FPIs that are there, they are also getting reduced because the investors are pulling off their money because of, I would say, the global uncertainties that are there, because of which the investors are preferring what they are preferring to invest their money in the safer market. Fine, so that is why they are pulling off their money because of the low confidence. They are pulling off their money from India, and that is, I would say, is an important factor why this market cap has remained low. Fine, and I would say there are other circumstances also, I would say other reasons also. For example, the geopolitical tensions that are there, for example the Middle East tension, the Red Sea blockade, or apart from that the tariff hike that has been announced by the US, that could also be an important factor. And because of this, what is happening, the investors, their risk aversion is getting increased, and because of the increasing investor risk aversion, what it is doing, basically it is increasing the FPI outflows. So that is the idea, and that is why what we are seeing that basically post April 2025 we are witnessing that the market cap is below 7%. So that is the idea with respect to that. I hope the concept is clear to you, and this is something that has been highlighted in the next line also, that the FPI outflow continue reaching a decadal low in equity ownership while DIIs surpassed FPIs in holdings. ठीक है, तो domestic institutional investors जो हैं कहीं ना कहीं वो अभी भी ठीक परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, बट इफ यू टॉक अबाउट the FPIs, fine, so basically over there we have witnessed a decreasing trend. Fine, so that is the idea regarding it. The next is regarding the bond market, and I would say the liquidity conditions. So basically RBI injected rupees 9.5 lakh crore in durable liquidity and announced a staggering CRR cut of 100 basis points. Fine, 100 basis points, releasing 2.5 लाख करोड़। अब ये नंबर्स याद रखना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, बस आपको ये कंसेप्ट पता होना चाहिए। द कंसेप्ट इज दैट बेसिकली व्हाट द आरबीआई इज डूइंग, बेसिकली एज अ पार्ट ऑफ इट द आरबीआई इज मेकिंग श्योर दैट देयर इज इनफ क्रेडिट available in the economy. Fine, because when the enough credit will be there, people can borrow money, and that money can be borrowed either by the individuals or it can be borrowed by the businessmen, that eventually can be invested in different type of sectors. So that is the idea behind it. Fine, so that is the idea regarding the such kind of decisions by the RBI. So that is something as highlighted in the report. The next is regarding banking and non-bank financial sector. So over here you can, as you can see, that basically if you talk about scheduled commercial bank, fine, so it says that scheduled commercial bank are witnessing strong capital buffers and low NPA levels. और हमें पता है, ठीक है, कि NPA level हमने बहुत बार देख लिया है कि रिकॉर्ड लो आया है हमारा NPA, which is around 2.8%, and if you talk about CRAR also, so that is 16.8%. अगर मैं RBI के mandated CRAR की बात करूं, it is 9%. ठीक है, तो 9% होता है, और apart from that if I add the counter cyclic buffer also sort of things also, then it is around 11.5%. So but what we are having, our banks are having 16.8%, which is way higher than that. Fine, so basically this represents the strength and resilience of our banking sector, that basically if tomorrow if any kind of uncertainty happens, then our banks are in a good position to deal with that. Apart from that, if you talk about the stress test, fine, so if you talk about the stress test, then over here basically as a part of the stress testing what the RBI does, RBI perform different type of tests with respect to the banks. For example, RBI is going to test the bank with respect to the negative outcomes that can happen. For example, the RBI is going to predict that tomorrow if economic slowdown happens, will our bank be able to deal with that or not, or you can say tomorrow, let us say if there is a huge inflation spike, so will our bank be able to deal with that or not. So on the basis of that, RBI performed different type of stress tests with respect to the banking system. And with respect to scheduled commercial bank, it says that the stress test showed that the scheduled commercial banks will remain above regulatory minimum even in adverse conditions. ठीक है, तो कल को कुछ अगर उल्टा पुल्टा हो जाता है इकोनॉमी में, हमारे पास इतना रिजर्व है, हमारे scheduled commercial banks के पास इतना रिजर्व है कि वो उस सिचुएशन से डील कर पाएंगे, which is I would say 16.8%, और NPA भी कम है, so it is a healthy sign. ठीक है, the next is regarding regarding urban cooperative banks and NBFCs. So regarding this, as you can see over here, that the urban cooperative banks capital position improved, and as of March 2025, CRAR of scheduled urban cooperative banks is 15.8%, fine, which is an increase from 15.4% in 2024. So September 2024 से March 2025 तक, this is the increase that we have witnessed, and I would say the capital position overall has gone high, it has gone improved. Apart from that, if you talk about NBFCs also, so NBFCs का क्या है, are they showing the resilience? So basically the answer is yes. If you talk about the minimum, if you talk about the regulatory minimum of NBFCs with respect to CRAR, it is around 15%. But what is the present, I would say, CRAR that is maintained by the NBFCs overall, it is around 25.4%. So again, it is higher. It is again higher. So just like scheduled commercial banks, the, I would say, CRAR of NBFCs is also high, which again is a positive sign. Fine. The next statement is that the NBFCs credit and bank lending to NBFCs increase steadily, which basically means that the NBFCs credit to the consumers is getting increase, and the credit of banks to the NBFCs that is also getting increased. ठीक है, तो ये एक अच्छा साइन है. इसका क्या मतलब है कि मार्केट में कहना कि लिक्विडिटी बढ़ रही है, मनी इज गेटिंग रोटेटेड. फाइन, बैंक इज गिविंग मनी टू NBFC. अब NBFC बैंक को बाद में इंटरेस्ट देगी, तो बैंक इज गोइंग टू अर्न. अब ये जो कंज्यूमर को लोन दिया NBFC ने, ये कंज्यूमर NBFC को बाद में पैसे देगा, तो NBFC इज ऑल्सो गोइंग टू रन. बट यहाँ पर एक word of caution, and the word of caution is that we have to make sure that, I would say, this NBFC sector should stay stable in the long run, because at any point of time, if there is a big crisis, a huge crisis with respect to NBFC, then it is going to affect the whole banking system, because we know that the whole financial banking system is interconnected. Fine, so the bank and the NBFCs, all this banking financial sector is interconnected. So basically, if the NBFCs get collapsed, so the bank is also going to get suffered. So we will have to make sure that this lending that is happened, it is happening in a sustainable manner. Fine, it is happening in a sustainable manner. That is something that has to be ensured as a part of this overall lending process. But if it is happening in a sustainable manner, that overall it is good, then it is good, and as of now it is increasing steadily. Now moving on to the fourth point, which is regarding systemic risk perception. Now what do you mean by this? I would say systemic risk perception. So basically, as per the report, if you talk about the systemic risk survey, now what is this systemic risk survey and who conducts this systemic risk survey? So basically, systemic risk survey is a survey that is conducted by RBI. Okay, this is the first information that you need to know, that it is conducted by RBI. Now why it is conducted by RBI and how it is conducted by RBI? Basically, as a part of this systemic risk survey, the RBI performed this survey to get the feedback from experts with respect to the financial system. ठीक है, तो RBI करेगा, different kind of experts are there. What type of experts? For example, there can be different kind of bankers. For example, there can be different kinds of regulators. For example, there can be different kind of, I would say, market analysts. There can be financial institutions also, and RBI is going to meet these experts, and from them RBI is going to get the feedback with respect to the financial system. ठीक है, अब feedback कैसे लेंगे मैं बताता हूँ आपको. For example, RBI what it is going to do, it is going to consider different kind of risk. तो डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ रिस्क ले लेगा, रिस्क को कैटेगराइज कर लेगा. फॉर एग्जांपल, जियोपॉलिटिकल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट का रिस्क हो गया, ठीक है, ट्रेड स्लोडाउन रिस्क हो गया, रुपी डेप्रिसिएशन रिस्क हो गया, इन्फ्लेशन का रिस्क हो गया, क्लाइमेट रिस्क हो गया, साइबर सिक्योरिटी इश्यूज हो गए. ऑल डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ रिस्क आर गोइंग टू गेट ग्रुप्ड. नाउ व्हाट द आरबीआई इज गोइंग टू डू, इट इज गोइंग टू आस्क दीज एक्सपर्ट्स दैट व्हाट इज देयर ओपिनियन, डू दे थिंक दैट आवर इंडियन फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम इज रेजिलिएंट इनफ टू हैंडल or to counter these kind of risk in the future. Then on the basis of the response, what it is going to do, basically it is going to decide that if a certain type of risk falls in the low risk category, or it is in the medium risk category, or it is in the high risk category. ठीक है, तो उसके बेसिस पे हम ये कंक्लूड करेंगे और उसके बेसिस पे हम एक फाइनल एक आई वुड से एक कैटेगरी प्रमोट करेंगे कि जो ओवरऑल रिस्क एनालिसिस है वो लो में है, मीडियम में है या हाई में है. सो दैट इज समथिंग दैट वी डू एज अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस सिस्टमिक रिस्क सर्वे. आई होप the point is clear to you that how systemic risk survey is performed and what is the relevance of that. Fine. So basically all major groups stayed in the medium risk categories. Major groups कौन से? ये वाले जो रिपोर्ट में मुझे स्क्रीनशॉट मिला, मैंने यहाँ वही लगा दिया है. तो ये डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ रिस्क हमने कंसिडर किए और हमने ये कंक्लूड किया कि ये जो रिस्क है ये मीडियम रिस्क कैटेगरी में आ रही है. और The report says that the 92% of respondents that are there. अब ये respondents कौन हुए? यही जो मैंने आपको experts बताए, ठीक है, यही वो experts है. So as per the 92% of the respondents, they basically expressed confidence in the soundness of the Indian financial system. Basically meaning they feel that the Indian financial system is in a good position to deal with the adverse circumstances in the future. That is something that has been highlighted, right? Apart from that, it says that out of all this risks, if you talk about these top three, the top three are geopolitical, कैपिटल आउटफ्लोस. ठीक है, जियोपॉलिटिकल हमें पता है क्यों है जियोपॉलिटिकल हाई, क्योंकि ग्लोबल अनसर्टेनिटी इतनी ज्यादा है, हमें पता है वॉर हो रहा है, यूएस ने टैरिफ लगा दिया है, डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ आई वुड से सर्कमस्टांसेस आर देयर ड्यू टू विच जियोपॉलिटिकल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट का जो रिस्क है वो हाई है. उसके अलावा कैपिटल आउटफ्लो मैंने आपको अभी बताया, फॉर एग्जाम्पल एफपीआई आउटफ्लो जो हो रहा है वो बहुत ज्यादा है. क्यों वो ज्यादा है? क्योंकि जियो पोलिटिकल कंफ्लिक्ट हो रही है, जियो पोलिटिकल अनसर्टेनिटी ज्यादा है, सो द इन्वेस्टर्स डू नॉट हैव इनफ कॉन्फिडेंस टू इन्वेस्ट इन डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ मार्केट्स. सो बिकॉज ऑफ द लैक ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस दे आर पुलिंग ऑफ देयर मनी, not only from India but from the other countries also. But wherever these investors feel that their money is safer, they are going to pull off their money, and they will invest their money to those places. So that is why basically capital outflow is there. And apart from that, yes, the trade slowdown is also another I would say outcome of that. So these three are the type of risk that are basically cited as the near term risk. ठीक है, की near term risk मतलब कि ये रिस्क की संभावना है बहुत जल्द फ्यूचर में आने की. ठीक है, और ये this is something that we are witnessing at the present also. So that is the idea regarding the systemic risk survey. I hope you have got this understanding part. The next is regarding regulatory and supervisory initiative. अब ये क्या लिए हैं आरबीआई ने? सबसे पहले आता है आरबीआई प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंस. अब ये प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंस क्या है? प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंस इज नथिंग, दीज आर द रूल्स. Fine, these are the new rules that have been announced by the RBI. And what is the significance of this new rules? The new rules is basically are regarding the banks and the financial institutions, and these new rules tell these banks and financial institutions or these banks that basically how they have to provide loans to big projects. Fine. So for example, if the banks are giving, I would say, some kind of big or huge amount of loans to any kind of industry, fine, maybe any kind of infrastructure industry or maybe any kind of industrial venture, fine. So what is going to happen in order to maintain the discipline, in order to make sure that there is enough monitoring? So what the government has done, government has launched this RBI project finance direction, so that basically this lending that is happening to these big projects, that happens in a sustainable manner, ठीक है, in a disciplined manner. That is the overall agenda behind it, and RBI has brought this initiative, brought these guidelines or directions. The next is RBI lending directions 2025. अब ये सबको पता होगा, ठीक है, डिजिटल लेंडिंग डायरेक्शंस, ये मैंने एक प्रीवियस सेशन में भी कराया. इफ यू हैव नॉट सीन इट, please watch the video as a part of this perspective 360 degree series only. So I had conducted a session that what all this direction include, and what are the major highlights with respect to these directions. So basically they are also very important with respect to the digital lending platforms, that is going to enhance the scrutiny with respect to them. Then there are consumer protection measures also, so the continued efforts to combat financial and digital frauds, for example smartodr.in, which is basically online dispute resolution mechanism, and the system audit for brokers also, so that the brokers, they also maintain technology, I would say they also maintain transparency with respect to the technological tools that they are using for. And why is it so? So that basically the malpractices that can happen as a part of this stock market, that can basically be avoided. Apart from that, basically unauthorized trading, all such sort of issues can be controlled. Fine. So overall, so that we can have a fair and efficient market system. So that is the agenda behind it. So these are, I would say, the major highlights as discussed as a part of, I would say, the report. And there are other type of, I would say, highlights also, but for that purpose I have suggested you Kritika ma'am session. Why we are not discussing it over here? Because in the exam, if the question comes, you don't have, I would say, the flexibility to write everything. You have to be choosy, you have to be picky with respect to the content that you are writing, and I would say 5 to 6 points in a detailed manner we have discussed, that shall be enough to write a good answer as a part of the examination. Okay, so that could be the crux, and this is the conclusion that the FSR June 2025, it underscores that India's financial system is well capitalized, liquid and resilient despite global uncertainties. Key indicators such as NPA levels, capital adequacy, fiscal prudence, external stability and effective regulation have contributed to this stability. Nevertheless, it calls for continued vigilance, especially in light of persistent global shocks, capital flows, volatility and rising household leverage. So that is the idea regarding it as discussed in the report, and this is the blueprint that you need to follow while writing your answer. Write the introduction, body and the conclusion. Introduction, as I always say, 10 to 12% of the total word limit. Same with the conclusion also, and rest of the word limit shall be dedicated to the body part, where you will write your body in the form of heading, subheading, along with that data, facts and examples. ठीक है, so that is the idea. और डेटा से बहुत ज़्यादा खुद को ओवरबर्डन मत करना, बट कुछ डेटा ऑफ कोर्स इंपॉर्टेंट है और मैंने आपको बताया कौन सा डेटा है वो. तो कुछ डेटा तो आप याद रख सकते हो, जैसे शेड्यूल कमर्शियल बैंक का CRAR क्या है, तो बैंकिंग से रिलेटेड एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आते हैं, वहाँ लिख देना. NBFC से रिलेटेड कोई पॉइंट लिखना है तो आप वहाँ पे उसका CRAR लिख सकते हो कि यार NBFC सिक्योर है, गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत स्टेप्स लिए हैं, और CRAR जो है वो रेगुलेटरी मिनिमम से कहीं ज़्यादा है. तो इस तरह की चीज़ें आप इंपॉर्टेंट डेटा याद रख सकते हो. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि आप सब कुछ याद रखो, बट उतना याद रखो जितना आप एग्जाम के लिए एग्जाम में रेप्लिकेट कर पाओ. ठीक है, डोंट गेट ओवरबर्डन विद सच काइंड ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. सो दैट इज द क्रक्स, एंड दिस इज द क्वेश्चन, द आंसर ऑफ विच यू हैव टू राइट इन द कमेंट बॉक्स, एंड आई होप you will write your answer. And before I end the session, I'm again repeating in case you have forgotten. So this is the discount that we are offering. The coupon code is 1time74, and it is from 4th to 6th August. Fine. So that is the idea. I hope it is clear to you. So thank you so much and all the best.